What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and today Konami said the bird is the word because we have new Lyrilusc support and a brand new winged beast archetype to talk about that is, from what I've heard, is very broken or very, very powerful and absurd. So let's jump into the Lyrilusc and then we can get to the exciting archetype. This one's also pretty cool too, though. It's Lyrilusc Bird Strike. So, Lyrilusc Bird Strike is a normal spell card. You can only activate this card's name once per turn. If you control a Lyrilusc monster, you negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end of this turn. This is to help with your OTK. You summon out one of your Lyriluscs, and then you play this to stop them from being able to, negate your stuff, and then you can keep going from there. It's also searchable as well, and all of that. So it's a very good card for the archetype, and as someone who has played this archetype many times, I definitely do think this card was needed, and that's great. But let's move on to the more exciting news. I know I'm skipping past this pretty fast, but I've covered Lyrilusc a lot on the channel, and we have a brand new archetype to talk about, which is a lot. So, first up is Flundereeze Empen. So it's an Emperor Penguin one. It's a level 10 winged beast effect monster. You can tribute this card. If this card is tribute summon, you can add one Flundereeze spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after this effect's resolved, you can normal summon one monster. While this tribute summon monster is on the field, your opponent cannot special summon monsters in attack position, or your opponent's special summon monsters in attack position cannot activate their effects. If this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can banish one card from your hand. That opponent's monster's current attack and defense becomes halved until the end of the turn. Woo! This card does a lot. It's like a Baguska, except for instead of negating their attack summoned effects, their defense, the words. Instead of negating their effects while they're in defense position, they just can't activate them. That's pretty absurd. This card, maybe this is, and you can tribute summon them. So, depends on how easy this deck is to tribute summon their monsters. I'm assuming it's going to be relatively easy because that's probably going to be the whole theme. Very strong impression of the first card. Searching and then immediately normal summoning afterwards is very powerful. Next up, Flundereeze Snowl. It's a level 10 water winged beast effect monster. 2900 attack, 800 defense, once per turn. If you control this tribute summon card, you can activate you can activate this effect. You can conduct 3 normal summons this turn, not just one. While this tribute summon monsters on the field, if your monster attacks a defense position, inflict piercing damage. Okay, that's for all your monsters? Dang, dude. Alright, once per opponent's turn, you can banish one card from your hand, change all opponent's special summon monsters to face-up defense position. So this can also stop them from OTKing you while they're going through their thing. They go to battle phase, and you go, I'm going to banish this card from my hand, and all your monsters are going to go to defense. That's really strong, especially if you can pair it with this card, because this will incentivize them. If they summon an attack, they don't get their effect, and if they if they are in defense, they can't OTK you. They can still blow up your board and stuff like that, but this card's also pretty strong, especially that first effect. That first effect is wild. Summoning 3 per turn and not 1. Woo. Moving on. Flundereeze Robina. It's a level 1 water winged beast effect monster. 600 attack, 1200 defense. You can only use the first and third effect of this card once per turn. Also, you cannot special summon the turn you activate either of those effects. If it's a normal summon, you can add one level 4 winged beast monster from your deck to your hand. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster. If this face up card leaves the field, you banish it. And then, if a winged beast monster is normal summoned to your field while this card is banished, you can add this card to your hand. So, that first effect is wild, being able to search literally any winged beast. Granted, you can't special summon, but you immediately normal summon one winged beast monster after the effect resolves. So, you get your search on, and then you get a normal summon on top of that. So if you have like another normal summon, or you have another monster out, you can summon one of the. If you have another one monster out, you can summon one of the big ones. And the way it's worded, since you immediately normal summon after that, it's part of the effect as well, and it's not an additional like. It's not like it's not like a double summon where it's like, oh hey, you can only gain this effect once per turn and stuff like that. The way that it's worded, you get your immediate normal summon, so you can just keep normal summoning your monsters. It's a really neat way to force the idea of normal summons and everything on the players. So far, though, this deck support is pretty strong. Um, Maybe it will be. It has potential at the very least, if it's not any so far anyway. It has a lot of potential to be a meta, possibly a meta relevant deck. We'll just have to see what the rest of the cards do though. So, Flundereeze, Eaglen, level 1 Wind Winged Beast effect monster, 800 attack, 1000 defense. First and third effects are hard ones for turns. If it's a normal summon, you can add one level 7 or higher winged beast monster from your hand, uh, from your deck to your hand. Then immediately after this card resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster. If a winged beast monster normal, banish this card when it leaves the field, and if a winged beast monster is uh, banished, or this card is banished after you normal summon, you add it to your hand. So it's the third effect is the same as the other one. Alright, so already I know what you do. You get this one, right? You normal summon this one, you search this one, which normal summons, and then you search one of the big ones. Probably this one. This one is very good, so you get your spell or trap card to search again, or you get this one to immediately normal summon the rest of them. So, it depends on which one you do, or which one you want. So, I think the idea is you're going to normal summon Robina, you're going to search Eaglen, and then you're going to normal summon Eaglen, and you're going to search out possibly Snowl. Snow's going to tribute these both, and then you're going to add these back to your hand. You're going to activate Snowl, and you're going to normal summon these again, and possibly get this one if you already have it in your hand. But we're not done talking about the monsters, for we have Strich, and I guess for now, I'm going to hold off on talking about combos, but as you can see, I'm pretty, I think this deck is going to be super powerful. So, what does this one do? It's a level 1 Water Winged Beast effect, and its first and third effects are hard ones for turns. Also, you cannot special summon the turn you activate either of those effects, but we're not planning on it. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target one card in either player's graveyard, banish it, then after this effect resolves, you can immediately normal summon one winged beast. Its second effect, you banish it when it leaves the field, and its third effect is the same as the last two, where you, when you normal summon to your field while it's banished, you get it added back to your hand. So, these cards all do the same. This one's also really good. This is incidental graveyard hate as well, because it's from either player's graveyard, so you can get one of their cards out of their graveyard to go off, so you don't have to rely on having one of your own. But it doesn't say monster card. And yeah, so far this one is probably the weakest of the bunch, but it's still a pretty good card. Next up is Flundereeze Toccan. Level 1 Wind Winged Beast effect monster, 500 attack, 1300 defense. First and third effects are hard ones per turns, and you can't special summon the turn you use their effect. So, if this card is normal summon, you can target one of your banished Flundereeze cards, add it to your hand, and then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one winged beast monster. This helps get back your other banished ones, including itself, including another copy of itself. If one of your Toccans are already banished, if this face-up card leaves the field, you banish it, and then if a winged beast is normal summoned to your field while it's banished, you can add this card to your hand. So, I don't know if you need this one as well, unless the spells and traps of this archetype banishes themselves as well, because if they do, then you can get those back, and that's probably what you're going to want to do, since all the little ones get themselves back anyway, unless the second option of what you do with this card is when your big monsters, if they get destroyed or something, your 2 level 10s, you can get those and you can banish them and then get them back probably another way or with this. So it's not completely useless, but it is so far the weakest of the monsters in my personal opinion, but it's still a good card. Next up we have their field spell. So it is Flundereeze and the Mysterious Map. Its first and second effects are card once per turn, and during your main phase you can reveal one level 1 Flundereeze monster in your hand, and if you do, banish one Flundereeze card with a different name from your deck. Then immediately after this effect resolves, you normal summon the revealed monster. If your opponent normal summons a monster, you can immediately after this effect resolves normal summon one Flundereeze monster. That field spell's so good. That's like one of the best field spells we've gotten in a while in terms of new field spells. That's super good. Like, usually Konami in the past has been like, first they made field spells too good, and that's why we had, Terraforming and Metaverse and all that limited. They were making field spells a little too good, and then they went on like this nerf capade to make, field spells really, really weak. And now they have this, and this card is super powerful. Yeah, very, very good card. Definitely a 3 of in the archetype. Next up, Flundereeze, the Unknown Wind continuous spell card. Second effect is a hard once per turn. You can conduct a tribute summon that requires 2 tributes by sending one monster you control and one monster your opponent controls to the graveyard instead of tributing. It is still treated as a tribute summon, and then during your main phase, you can reveal up to 2 winged beast monsters in your hand, place them at the bottom of your deck, and then draw the same number of cards. This card is also very good. This is like this is also another 3 of that you're going to play in the deck. This deck is very reminiscent of kind of reminiscent of True Draco in the sense that they can just keep normal summoning because of monster effects and stuff like that, and they're like a mix between monarchs and like True Dracos and stuff like that, which means you can use support like the Monarchs Erupt so that your opponents not tribute summon monsters don't get their effects. Well, then you don't get your effects for your little ones, so maybe not that, but you can make sure you can play the field spell for the monarchs as well, and then if you wanted to, I mean, you're going to be playing 3 of this field spell, but you could also play the monarchs field spell. You can also play their monarchs continuous spell so that your tribute summon monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects or targeted. So that's another thing that you can do with this archetype. Because they're tribute summon based, you can actually do a lot of things, especially in regards to like with the monarch support. And because they don't allow special summoning, you don't need to run an extra deck. So another option that this deck can run is obviously the cards that say you can't have any cards in your extra deck from the monarch support. But if you don't want to go that way, this deck can also run the Pot of Extravagance or the Pot of Prosperity, because it doesn't need its extra. You can just banish cards, and all that. So overall, I'm really liking this archetype, and it has a ton of potential. Flundereeze City and the City of Dreams is our next card, and it's a normal trap card. So, second effect is a hard once per turn. During the main phase, immediately after this resolves, you can normal summon one level 4 or lower winged beast monster. Second, if you tribute summon a monster, or level 7 or higher monster, while it's in your graveyard, you can banish this card and change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. Okay, that's pretty good too, because with the field spell lets you normal summon monsters on your opponent's turn. So you can normal summon something when they normal summon a monster, you can normal summon one of your own and switch that to defense, and that can be pretty relevant as well. So you can get that effect on your opponent's turn pretty easily. On top of that, there is probably a way. There's a way also, because you can activate this during the battle phase as well. So you flip this up, because it says immediately after this effect resolves, you normal summon. So you flip this up during the battle phase, and then if you contribute summon a level 7 or higher monster, so one of your big ones, you while this is in your graveyard, so you can basically negate the battle phase this way from your opponent by changing them all to face down defense position. And because they do it on face down defense position, like I said, for the main phase on your opponent's turn. Oh well, this says during the main phase. Never mind. On my second point to negate the battle phase, but during your but because it does this during the main phase and flips them all face down, you can negate your opponent from going into the extra deck. So this is a very good disruptive card. This second effect is a lot more powerful than you might think it is, because that's a pretty easy effect to get off. The next card is the Counter Trap, Flundereeze, and the Scary Sea. So you can only activate one of this card's name per turn. If you control a face-up tribute summon monster and no special summon monsters, and your control opponent would special summon a monsters, your opponent cannot special summon for the rest of the turn, but they can conduct 3 normal summons this sets this turn, not just one. Also negate the summon, and if you do, return that monster to the hand. That's kind of funny. I don't know how relevant that's gonna be. It's worth noting that this doesn't stop a summoning, like a monster being summoned off a card effect. It only stops unclassified game effects and the summons from the extra deck that include contact fusing, synchros, Xyz, links, and pendulum summons in general, which is casually referred to as or the community refers to it as a inherent summon, even though that's not the technical term. But overall, this card is just kind of funny. It's like a better Blackhorn. I don't know if you call it a better Blackhorn of Heaven. It's just a funny Blackhorn of Heaven. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday. And if you want to send me an Eagle deck profiles or replays, my email is in the description. I would love to see them. Tell me what you guys think of the Flundereeze archetype down in the comment section below. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.